My child, I speak to you in the stillest hour of your soul amid whispers that have not yet found words. Within the silent spaces you thought no one could hear, I was there. I saw the waves stirring in the depths of your being, the unspoken questions, the quiet prayers for someone you've never met, yet whom your heart seems to recognize. How many times have you looked up to the sky and asked, "Where is this person? And when will I meet them?" I have heard every one of those questions. And today, I come to answer not with dates or signs, but with a truth that will open your spirit wide. The one I have chosen for you is unlike any image you have ever painted in your mind. For I do not choose based on fleshly standards or human reasoning. I do not measure love by age or social status. I look into the invisible, into the rhythm of the soul, into the mission written before the foundation of the world, into the sacred alignment only heaven can see. And you will be surprised when I say, this person, though separated from you by age, is the perfect piece I have been waiting for the right time to place beside you. I know that as you hear this, your heart may stir with many emotions. You may feel confused, uncertain, or even doubtful. But remember this, you were not created to live an ordinary story. Your life is a testament to divine orchestration. And so, the love I have prepared for you cannot be ordinary either. It cannot be confined to what the world calls normal. It will break the mold not to create chaos but to reveal my glory. For I often choose what seems weak to shame the strong, and what is despised to confound the wise. 1 Corinthians 1:27-29. There are people I bring into your life to teach you something, not to stay forever. But the one I am preparing for you now is not a lesson, but a covenant. They will not arrive merely to fill an empty space, but to walk with you through lands no one else has been called to tread. They may not be perfect in the eyes of the world, but they are perfectly suited in my kingdom's plan. They may carry wounds from the past, but they also carry strength refined by fire. They may not be as young as others, or as seasoned as you imagined, but in the spirit, their heartbeat and yours are already aligned. I have seen every step, every crossroad, every changing wind in your life. I saw you in the depths of loneliness no one understood, in the ache of half-hearted connections, in your longing to be truly seen without having to explain, without having to try. And I said to my angels, prepare that one, train them through winter, through wilderness, through storms and sunshine, so that when the time comes, I may bring them to my child neither a minute too late, nor an hour too early. And you do not need to understand everything. You only need to be ready. Lay down every old definition, every past image, every standard the world or even you once held. Let me rewrite the meaning of life partner not based on age, appearance, status, or the superficial, but on soul alignment, unity of purpose, and communion in the Spirit. When I formed you, I also etched into time another life whose heartbeat would resonate with yours, a promise sealed in eternity. My child, this person is not a reward for your waiting, but a confirmation of the promise I spoke. The love between you two will not resemble any relationship you've known. It will be deep, steady, and powerful enough to silence every doubt. It will not rise from fleeting emotion, but from the ancient place where your souls were called by name before anything began. And even when the world questions, how can this be? I will answer not through arguments, but through my acts, through enduring unity, through blessings poured out, through fruit born from a union heaven has approved. Prepare yourself. Clean out the inner chambers. Let go of outdated expectations. Shed old disappointments. And open your heart to the unexpected that I am about to release. The love that is coming is not something you will find by your own strength. It is a gift from my hand. And this person, though you may not realize it has long been mentioned in your prayers, I have kept them for you, even as I have kept you for them. When the moment arrives, there will be no need for many explanations. Your soul will know. Your heart will answer, and I myself will bear witness. Beloved child, I know what I have revealed may stir conflict within your mind. Part of you longs to believe I am opening something beautiful. Yet another part still tries to fit everything into the frames built by human handsage. Position, experience, distance. I see the questions rising in you. Will the age gap be a barrier? Will they understand me? Can I walk in peace when the world casts doubt on this relationship, my child? It is in the places where man dares not step that I plant miracles, and this is one of those. The love I am preparing for you does not need to make sense to the intellect, because it is not born of human wisdom but flows from heaven's infinite understanding. I do not seek compatibility on paper, but resonance of soul. I do not measure by what eyes can see, but by what seeps deep into sacred purpose. And this person, despite the difference in age, carries the missing piece of the vision I have placed within you. Not someone to fill a void, but someone who will bring completion to the picture in my light. They may have walked a path full of challenges. Their scars are not signs of brokenness, but proof of endurance. Their wrinkles are not remnants of time, but the marks of prayers whispered on weary knees, of rising again in pain, of faithfulness when no one else remained. It is precisely because they have been hurt that they can love you rightly. It is because they have faced dark nights without comfort that they will know how to hold your hand when the storm comes. Their maturity will not overshadow you, will be your shield when you are weak, your voice when you fall silent, your refuge when your soul is tired. And if the person is younger than you, do not let pride or doubt cause you to miss the wonder I have prepared. Throughout my story, I have often used the young to do what far exceeds their years. When I called Jeremiah, he said, Lord God, behold, I do not know how to speak, for I am only a youth. But I answered, do not say, I am a youth, for you shall go to all to whom I send you. Jeremiah 1:6. Age does not limit the fire of the Spirit, and the one younger than you I have chosen, them will carry a purity, a teachable spirit, a passionate love ready to be poured out. They will see you with admiration, follow with respect, and hold your hand not out of possession, but shared calling etched into both your souls. Do not let numbers blur the truth that stirs within you. When I unite two souls, differences become a depth that strengthens unity. The older brings a broader view, the younger, a fresh spark. The one who has gone ahead will guide with wisdom. The one rising will move the journey forward with renewed faith. They will not wear each other out. They will complete one another. They will not compete. They will conquer together. And in that sacred balance, I will be glorified. I know you are hesitant because of how others might react, your parents, friends, your community, even those you once held in high regard. But, my child, if you live only to please them, you will lose my voice. Every time I desire to do something new, I must first dismantle the old pattern. When I chose a shepherd to become king, the entire house of Jesse doubted. When I chose Mary, a young virgin, to bear the Savior, the whole village of Nazareth trembled. But what I touch, I also protect. What I begin, I will finish. The love you are about to step into does not require human approval, for it has already been sealed with the blood of my only One who died to bring love at the right time, with the right person, in the right season. You do not have to understand it all right away, but you must let go of your need to understand. You must believe that I will never give you anything less than the best. And if that best comes in a form you didn't expect, are you willing to open your heart? I am leading you into a story unlike any other. One that will bring healing to hundreds. A story that will not follow the usual blueprint, but will tear down walls of prejudice that have stood for generations. Because the love I am about to write into your life is not just for you, it is a message I long to proclaim through you. Prepare your heart not to explain, but to live, not to persuade anyone, but to testify through your very life. When I bring that person to you, do not doubt. Step forward as Abraham once did, not knowing the destination only, knowing that I am the one who leads. And there is no path I guide you on that does not overflow with blessing, even if it stuns you at first. My child, when I prepare something sacred for someone, I am never in haste. Every step is meticulously calculated, not only in space, but in time, and the love I am leading you to is no different, not the result of fleeting emotion, but the culmination of preparation through many seasons of your life. That person is not arriving by chance, but by assignment, not to stir a temporary feeling, but to become the missing piece in the calling I placed in you before you were even born. You have waited. You have prayed. You have sacrificed. Now, I want you to learn something new, to receive. So many speak of love as something to be found as if it's hiding somewhere in this vast world. But true love, the love that comes from me, is not something you search for. It is something you must be ready to receive. And the first thing you must clear out is your prejudice, the limitations built by society, the traps of comparison, the measuring sticks that did not come from me. If your heart is still bound by the image of an ideal, you will reject the gift I place in your hands simply because it doesn't come wrapped in familiar packaging. That person will come perhaps without any obvious signs. They may not arrive with dazzling light or soothing words. They may enter your life quietly, through the most ordinary circumstances, through connections you never expected. But when your soul touches theirs, there will be a peace that surpasses all understanding, peace not born from answers, but from presence. And in that moment, you will know, this is the one, not because your mind agrees, but because your soul finds rest in theirs. It is a voice unspoken but deeply resonant. We were meant to meet. And then, differences, like age, will fade like morning mist under the sunlight of understanding. Because when I unite, I do not merely join personalities, I align purposes. I do not just merge individual journeys, I form one singular path toward my glory. On that path, you may be tested. Some will say you're wrong. Some will question. Some will try to make you feel small for your decision. But my child, do not let their voices drown out mine. I myself will protect this connection. I will establish it through every season, every year, every trial. I have not chosen someone for you to satisfy a passing desire, but to affirm the very nature of true love that comes from sacrifice, surrender, and reverence for me. That person will not come to possess you, but to uphold you, not to compete with you, but to complement you, not to mold you into someone else, but to help you become who you truly are in the glorious version I created. They will honor what you hold sacred, understand the pain you cannot speak, and pray for you on nights when you cannot rise to pray for yourself. My beloved child, this love will reshape you. It will soften the hardened places in your soul. It will teach you to give without holding back, to forgive without keeping score, to trust even without guarantees. And in that process, you will be transformed, not to fit someone else's mold, but to become more like Metha One, who has loved you unconditionally from the beginning to the very end. You will learn to love not only with emotion, but with decision, not only in the light, but even in the dark. And you will see, true love doesn't come to make you feel secure on your own. It comes to make you brave enough to walk into the unknown, hand in hand with another. Let me remind you one more time, that person may not look like what you expected, but they are the one I have chosen. The confirmation will not come through the eyes of others, but through the whisper in your spirit when you pray. Do not chase feelings. Do not compare to other stories. Do not force what I am doing into someone else's mold. This is your story. This is the journey I have written just for you. And that person, though you may not yet know their name or face, has already been called by name in the secret place, where no force can touch, where only I and my angels have access. So be ready not to love the way the world does, but to enter into a holy covenant. Pray, seek, but more than anything, open your heart. Let me guide each step. Even when you don't understand, let me tear down the walls you've built, even if they're named experience or self-protection. Because if you don't let go of the old, you will have no room to receive the new. And what I'm bringing is not just a persona, it is an entirely new chapter of your life. A chapter in which every line is written in blood, in tears, and in love from the highest place. My child, before I place your hand into theirs, before I allow two souls to meet in a sacred covenant, there is a stage that must not be skipped: preparation. Not outward preparation, not financial readiness or situational alignment, but inward preparation. It is a work I am quietly doing within you, refining, deepening, breaking, and restoring. For true love cannot be carried by unclean hands, nor can it be held by a heart still bruised by old wounds and driven by fleshly motives. I do not entrust sacred covenants to those who view love as a way to fill their own emptiness. I entrust it only to those who have died to themselves and live for what I am doing through them. So if it seems like I'm delaying, if it feels like I'm withholding what you long for, know this: I am not delaying. I am purifying. I have not forgotten you. I am preparing you. I'm not letting love come late. I'm simply not letting it arrive while your heart is still clouded with confusion, anxiety, and uncrucified will. You may have said you were ready, but I see the fragments still unhealed in your soul scratches from past relationships, disappointments you've tucked away in the corners of your spirit. If I pour new love into an old vessel, it will not last. If I allow you into covenant while you are still comparing, fearing, and doubting, that love will become a burden instead of a grace. I am calling you into a process of sanctification, not because I'm harsh, but because I cherish the love I am about to give. The love you are about to receive is not a reward, it is a part of a greater plan. And unless you are prepared, you will not recognize the value of what I give. I have given love to many before, but because they did not let me complete my work in their hearts, they mishandled it. They carried old wounds into new connections. They reacted instead of listening. They tried to control rather than serve, and they broke what I intended to restore. I do not want you to repeat that pattern. You are called to live differently. The love you're stepping into will not resemble anything you've known before, and so, your preparation must also be unlike anything you've experienced. Look closely at your life in this season. You may feel isolated, set apart, misunderstood, but these are signs that I'm leading you into the secret place. I cannot prepare you in a crowd. I must bring you into the wilderness where the applause fades. Distraction disappear, and only my voice and your heart remain. In the wilderness, I expose what you've hidden, bring to the surface memories you thought were forgotten. I teach you to let go without asking for something in return. I train you to live without needing validation from others. It is there that you learn contentment in me alone. It is there that you realize you don't need another to be whole, and only then will I bring that person not to complete you, but to walk in fullness with you. Remember, I have not promised you a love that is perfect by human standards, but I have promised a love protected by grace and truth. To live in that kind of love, you must learn to die daily, die to selfishness, die to unrealistic expectations, die to control, and especially die to the need to understand everything. You cannot understand all I am doing, but you can trust me, and that trust will be the key to open the door into a bond unseen by the eyes of men but deeply known by the soul. Let me ask you, if I gave you love sooner, would you have been mature enough to keep it? If they appeared in a season when you were still ruled by ego, would you have seen them clearly? If I gave you someone truly worthy, would you recognize their value? Would you pull them into your cycles of doubt, jealousy, and pain? This is why I am patient. I am not slow as some count slowness, but I am patient for your sake, 2 Peter 3-9, because I love you, and I also love the one I'm preparing for you. So I will not let either of you enter this journey with an untested heart. Pray not for love to come sooner, but for your heart to be healed deeper. Ask not to shorten the season of preparation, but to be given strength to endure the refining. Do not rush, because the love that comes from me is never late, nor is it ever in haste. It always arrives at the moment when both hearts are ready not just to love each other, but to love me in each other. My beloved child, I know preparation can be exhausting. At times, it feels like I am asking too much without revealing the reward ahead. But my measure of preparation is not the pain you feel, it's the depth of faith you develop. Every tear you've cried in loneliness, every moment you've chosen to forgive without apology, every time you chose prayer over complaintal, these are bricks I am using to build the temple of enduring love I have designed for you. I am teaching you how to discern the sacred within what seems ordinary. The one I have chosen for you may not come wrapped in blinding light or obvious signs. Instead, they will carry a quiet peace that makes you feel safe without defenses, that allows you to sense my presence without needing many words. Don't chase after loud signs. Let your soul's eyes be open to recognize the genuine in a world full of counterfeits. They may come at a time you least expect, in circumstances that appear chaotic, but their presence will still your inner storm. You've set many conditions: when I'm stable, when I'm strong, when I no longer doubt. But I say, love does not arrive when everything is perfect. It arrives when I say, now, and I reserve the right to choose the moment, even if it confuses you. Your surrender is not proven by agreement when it's convenient, but by your yes, even when you don't fully understand. Some obedience comes without explanation, but carries eternal reward. Remember, Abraham was called the father of faith, not because he understood everything I was doing, but because he obeyed amid the absurd, and that's what I am looking for in you. When that person comes not in the way you imagined, not at the time you predicted, not in the form you expected, will you follow my voice, not the voice of your emotions or the approval of others, but the gentle whisper within the voice I always use to lead those I love? If I place them before you tomorrow, would your heart be quiet enough to recognize them? Or would you reject them simply because they didn't come in the packaging you're used to? You must learn to trust me more than you trust your feelings. Feelings shift, but my word remains. Today you may feel confident, but tomorrow a small doubt can shake you. I do not condemn you for this. I know you are dust. But that is why I call you to cling to what is unchanging, myself and my promises. Learn to live by what I say, not by what you see. There will be days that person won't make you feel in love the way you imagined. But if you know that love came from me, you will stand firm in commitment even when emotions fade. I am training you to become one who preserves love when the storm hits. For true love is not defined by sweet moments, but by faithfulness when nothing is easy. The one I choose for you will not be perfect, but they will love you with humility and reverence for me. And I want you to love them with a heart filled with mercy. You will learn to forgive even before being hurt, to walk in unity before fully understanding, to choose to stand beside rather than opposite, because you'll know that your unity is not just for each other, but for a mission greater than both of you. My child, I don't believe that everything will be easy just because it comes from me. When I brought Israel out of Egypt, they faced the Red Sea. When I gave Sarah a son, she endured decades of silence. When I chose Mary to bear the Savior, she endured misunderstanding, rejection, and a quiet life few noticed. Yet through it all, they obeyed, and it was their obedience that unlocked the miraculous. Now I invite you to obey, not because you see the result, but because you trust the one who leads. Let me anoint your faith with fresh oil. Let my Holy Spirit teach you to discern what is from me and what is from the flesh. Do not chase after others' prophecies, listen to me. For if you constantly seek confirmation from external voices, you will be swayed every time a new one arises. I do not desire for you to live in uncertainty. I desire for you to be assured, and that assurance will not come from man, it will be born in the personal encounter between you and me. When I confirm someone for you, you will not need anyone else to validate it. I myself will be your witness. It is time for you to understand, preparation is not just so that you can receive, that personate is so that you can keep them. True love is not sustained by fleeting feelings, but by spiritual maturity. I have not called you to experience sacred connection only for a moment, but to walk in it through all seasons, through change, through trials, even through days that feel barren. And this cannot happen if your heart remains hardened, if your soul has not been softened by my very presence. You may have asked me, why must I be alone for so long? Why must I endure so much pain? But what you did not realize is that it was in those nights you collapsed in tears. In those times you walked alone in quiet shame, that I was laying deep foundations within you. Nothing in my kingdom is built on shallow ground. Everything great that I give begins in the depths far beyond the reach of human eyes, in the hidden place where it is only you and me. Seasons of loneliness were not a punishment, but a gift wrapped in silence. I allowed the solitude not because I abandoned you, but because I wanted to rewrite you myself from within. And in that solitude, what did I do? I removed from you the false expectations. I stripped away the layers of masks you used to protect yourself. I brought you back to your original self, the place where you no longer had anything to prove, where you learned to stand not by the approval of others, but by my assurance alone. There were wounds you thought would never heal, but I mended them quietly. There were scars you buried deep, fearing others might see or touch them, but I placed my hand there not to hurt, but to heal with truth. And as you were healed, you became fertile ground where true love could finally take root. I do not choose the already polished to receive love. I choose those willing to be shaped by me. So if today you feel unready, that may be the clearest sign that you are on the right path. Those who think they've arrived often stop learning, but those who know they need me daily will learn to love with humility and tenderness. And that is what I long to do in you, not to create a perfect person, but one who relies on me in every moment to love rightly. My child, the love I've ordained for you is not meant to make you feel wonderful every single day, but to teach you to live for something greater than yourself. There will be moments when the other person is weak, and you will be called to be their refuge. There will be moments when you'll want to withdraw, but my voice will hold you fast because covenant is stronger than emotion. My kind of love is not built on attraction, but on sacrifice. And if you have not learned to sacrifice in the small seasons, your pride, your time, your comfort, you will not be able to enter the deep unity I have prepared. Some think that when I send the one I've chosen, everything will be easy. But the truth is, because they are from me, the enemy will try to divide. The enemy is not threatened by fleeting love. He aims for the unions that bear spiritual fruit. That is why I cannot let you step into covenant unequipped. Every silent prayer, every time you choose faith over doubt, becomes a weapon. You are not preparing just to love, but to fight for that love when necessary. Not to fight each other, but to stand together against the invisible forces, trying to tear apart what I've joined. Remember this, the unity I establish cannot be broken when both hands remain in mine. That is why I am shaping you not just to wait for their arrival, but to recognize, love, and stand beside them when they do. No one steps into this journey without spiritual preparation. And you, my beloved, are being trained not only to walk with someone, but to carry the sacred fire when storms roll in. You may not see the full picture right now, but don't worry. You don't need to see it all. You only need to take each step in the light I give. And when that light rests on the one I've chosen, you will know. You won't need to force a feeling. My confirmation will run deeper than emotion, stronger than reason, firmer than any human vow. And it will surprise you, not because you've never been loved before, but because you've never been loved this way. Loved in a way that matches your spirit, aligns with your calling, and restores what was lost in your past. So, keep walking. Do not stop just because you feel weary. Do not retreat because you don't yet see results. Remember, winter always comes before spring, and soil cannot bear fruit without a season of stillness and burial. But I am still working in the dark, and that person carefully held in the palm of my love is going through their own process too. They are also being taught, healed, and prepared. And when I say, now, nothing in heaven or on earth will be able to stop it. It may begin with a short conversation at a small gathering, a passing glance in a crowded place, or a work connection that seems ordinary. There may be no heavenly spotlight, no angelic trumpet sounding, but deep within you where I have prepared, cleared, and softened through many seasons of solitude, there will be a sacred silence, a holy stillness without a name, as if every cell in your soul whispers, this is it. Not, this is the perfect person, but this is the one appointed for me. And zero, because when I connect two souls, I do not connect them through sight, emotion, or reason. I connect them with a sacred note that only those who have been taught to listen in silence can recognize. It is a sound not heard with ears, but echoed in the Sula harmony that exists even before the physical meeting. That person comes not to impress, but to fill a space you never knew was empty. And when they speak, you will not only hear with your ears, but with a deep empathy within. There will be no need to earn affection, no need to hide your past, no need to build walls out of fear of being hurt. Before them, you will simply be yourself and still feel enough. My child, do not be surprised if they do not resemble what you once imagined. I never promised to send someone according to the image you drew. I only promised to send the one your soul would recognize. They may carry scars that have been healed, dreams once shattered and mended by faith, stories that are imperfect yet true, and because of that, they will be able to hold you without fear, love you without possessing, understand you without needing explanations. For they were not just taught how to love, they were shaped to love you. And in that moment, you will remember every word I ever spoke. The times I told you to be patient, the nights you wept, believing you were abandoned, the seasons you walked in darkness, unsure where the light was, every tear, every prayer, every act of obedience in loneliness, they were not forgotten, but collected in my golden bowl, Revelation 5-8, poured out at the appointed time when you and that person meet. That moment is set, not a day late, not an hour early, perfectly aligned with the melody I composed before you were formed. Know this, that meeting is not merely the beginning of a love story, it is the declaration of a divine timing, a door opening, not just for a relationship to begin, but for both of you to step into a new sacred season. From that point on, everything will begin to shift, not through romantic emotion, but through intentional steps, because this person is not merely a companion. They carry the key to a part of your calling you could not fulfill alone. Just as Adam could not steward Eden alone, just as Moses needed Aaron, just as Paul needed Titus, I have prepared someone not to complete you, but to help complete the work I've assigned to you. I also know that while your soul may recognize them, your mind may still question. You might ask, is this real? Is this just emotion? Am I imagining this? But do not worry, I will confirm it. Not through supernatural theatrics, but through inner steadiness. They will not have to fight for a place in your life. They will not pressure you. They will not stir insecurity. They will not pull you away from Mayboot, draw you closer. That will be the greatest sign of all. Never forget, true love makes you more like me. Not just feel loved. It doesn't just make you smile. It makes you grow. It doesn't just satisfy. It sanctifies. And the person I have chosen will walk with you not just because of emotion, but because of covenant. They will be the one who reminds you to pray when you are weary, who holds your hand when you want to give up, who worships with you even when no one else is watching. Open your heart. Don't try to control what I'm doing. Don't use old experiences to dissect a new thing. Don't impose a mold upon someone born from a promise. Walk in the simplicity of faith. For I am the one who has brought you here, and I will walk with you from here on. When I connect, no force can separate. When I declare, now is the time. Every door must open. My child, when two souls chosen by me step into each other's orbit, what happens is more than a spark, it is alignment. Not alignment by preference or taste, but a resonance that only occurs between hearts broken, healed, and formed by the same hand-mind. And that is what you are sensing, though you may not have words for it. There is something about this person that quiets you, not because they overwhelm you, but because their presence feels like a song your soul heard long ago in eternity. When they are near, you don't feel the need to perform for approval. You don't need polished words to be loved. The masks fall away. You are not your best version. You are simply yourself. And that is enough. In their eyes, you see no judgment, only understanding. In their words, no control but release. They do not merely see you, they see through you, and still choose to stay. Spiritual unity does not come instantly. It is not magic. It is a process. But when I am the foundation, every step in that process is made firm. Every conversation, every silence, every moment of shared prayer becomes a brick in a sacred temple of love. You will see that when two souls walk with me, they do not merely share time and space, they enter revelation of one another, of me, and of themselves. Unity does not mean agreement at all times. There will be moments when you and they see things differently. But what is remarkable here is this: despite differing perspectives, your souls will not drift apart. There may be outward differences that puzzle you, but the deep place still holds you together. Me. True love doesn't require perfect similarity. It requires sacred commitment, that even in difference, we will learn to love daily, hourly, moment by moment in the light of the one who joined us. And I teach you to love this way, not to create merely virtuous couples. I desire to forge covenants that can withstand the decay of this world. In an age where emotions shift like the tide, I am searching for those who love not because they feel love, but because they know they are sent to love. That is why I've prepared you for so long, because I do not want you to love out of instinct, but out of covenant. That person has not come to fill your emptiness. They have come to stand beside you in service of something greater, my kingdom. There will be days of peace you'll pray together, converse deeply, walk in sweet agreement. But there will also be days when everything feels shaken. Emotions will waver. Work will press in. Words spoken without thought may leave a mark. But it is in those very days that you will learn the true nature of love. To love when it's inconvenient. To love through pain. To love not for gain, but out of obedience to the one who joined you. And I will not leave you to wrestle with that love alone. I will be in the center. I will be the third chord that is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes 4:12. Whenever your heart grows faint, come to me. Whenever distance creeps in, let me remind you why you began. Sacred love is not a flame that burns out quickly. It is a lamp that does not go out because it is filled daily with oil. And I am the one who pours the oil. But you must choose to come, to open, to receive every single day. You will see, when the two of you pray together, something happens not in the natural, but in the spirit. Invisible chains are broken. Old wounds heal more deeply. Barriers to trust begin to fall. For in shared prayer, your souls are exposed to true light, and no darkness can remain. This is not romance. This is presence, holy presence. And then, I will unveil greater plans, things you could never accomplish alone. Words I have kept hidden in my heart will now be spoken, because I have not merely given you someone to love, but a co-laborer in the Spirit, someone to fight beside you, to intercede with you, to carry spiritual burdens for the sake of a generation. This is not a personal relationship, this is a dual mission. So do not despise small beginnings. Do not measure love by the beating of your heart. Measure it by the depth of presence. Measure it by your ability to return to me together in trial. Measure it by how you serve one another in sacrifice. And above all, remember, when I am at the center, everything else will find its place. My dear child, when you have seen, have felt, and have walked beside that person in the light I have given, there is one more thing I must speak to you about, something indispensable if you truly desire to hold on to what I have entrusted to you. You must enter into covenant, not a covenant written in ink on paper, but one inscribed by faith and obedience, not a vow made before people, but a sacred promise made before me. This is not a relationship as the world defines it, but a union engraved upon my heart before time began. It is holy. Therefore it requires holiness. It is enduring. Therefore it demands faithfulness. And it is given for an eternal purpose. Thus it cannot be lived superficially or ruled by fleeting emotions. You have arrived at a change of season, and at this crossroad, you cannot retreat, nor can you delay. Hesitation is the crack through which fear slips in. Doubt is the wind that may blow you off the path I have prepared. If you do not step forward, the enemy will use the very things I gave you to stir confusion in your mind. It will cause you to compare. It will raise questions. It will replay old wounds. It will whisper in your ear, "This is too good to be true." But I say to you, it is because it is so good. It can only be from me. End of self. Do not ask for more signs when you have already received confirmation. Do not seek more proof when your heart is at peace. You do not need everyone's agreement. You only need to know that I am the one who brought this person into your orbit, not by chance, not by mistake, but in my perfect timing, by my perfect hand, and by a spirit aligned with yours. When I affirm, my peace reigns not the kind the world gives, but the kind sealed by the Holy Spirit. John 14:27. That peace is the grace that keeps you steady, even when you do not understand the whole plan. It cannot be faked, nor can it be stolen if you guard it in me. Right now, I am inviting you into deeper waters, a place beyond emotional games, beyond doubt and control, beyond the need for escape routes. For true love is not built on caution, it is built on surrender. And true surrender only happens when you place me at the center, not placing the other person on a pedestal, not idolizing the relationship, but worshiping me through the way you love them. When you see them through my eyes, you will no longer see them as a means to fulfill yourself, but as part of my kingdom, a co-laborer, a companion in arms, a keeper of sacred ground entrusted to you both. Clarify your heart. Choose to walk forward with resolve. Do not let past wounds dictate how you love in the present. You are not who you used to be. You have been renewed. And so, the way you love must also be renewed, not with fear of abandonment, not for validation, not to prove your worth, but with strength because you know you are standing in the will of God. That strength does not come from fleeting emotions. It comes from the secret place where you once knelt alone, where you once cried out in tears, where I tilled the soil of your heart day by day, season by season. Now, from that very place, covenant is born. When your hands join together, you are placing them into a covenant that has existed since eternity past. It may be a small moment in the natural, but it creates a loud echo in the spiritual realm. The enemy trembles when two anointed souls step into unity. Never forget, this is not merely the union of two individuals. This is the merging of two spiritual streams. When you say yes, not only are you changed, not only is the other person transformed, but the spiritual atmosphere around you begins to shift. Angels are assigned to guard you. Territories once locked in destiny begin to open. Dreams once thought dead begin to stir again. Because now, my word is no longer spoken to. O night is given to a pair, a new body in the spirit. True unity will be tested, but do not be afraid. Storms will prove your foundation, and if I am the rock you build upon, then no wind can bring it down. Do not pray for ease. Pray for love that endures, and you will see, through every battle, that love will not wear out, but will be refined, strengthened, and filled with authority. My child, I rejoice to see you come this far, but I am also solemn because this is no longer the time of waiting or discerning. This is the time to step in. Step in with simplicity. Step in with trust. Step in, not because of emotion, but because of spiritual confirmation. And when you do, I will seal it not with blinding light, but with unshakable peace, and with a radiance that no one can steal, the glow of a love heaven has acknowledged. When you have learned to stand firm through trials, and have joined hands to withstand the winds, I will lead you into a deeper dimension, the realm of spiritual collaboration, where love is no longer just something you protect, but something you pour out. For love ordained by me is never only for personal fulfillment, it always carries the potential to expand the kingdom. I have placed within you both distinct gifts. One may carry the fire of intercession, while the other holds the light of encouragement. One may speak with precision, while the other brings depth in silence. But together, what was once incomplete becomes whole. No one overshadows the other. No one dominates. Each becomes a vessel filled, then poured out to the world, and your love becomes a sacred stream, flowing, healing to those around you. You will begin to notice this from the moment you step into true covenant. The space around you changes. Families feel a new peace. Friends seek prayer. The weary feel comfort just by standing near. This does not come from you, but from the presence I have placed at the center. A relationship centered in me affects more than just the two involved. It creates an atmosphere, a sacred space that breaks yokes, lifts the fallen, and calls the forgotten by name. Love ordained by me is not something that needs to be proclaimed with words. It radiates in the way you live, in quiet faithfulness, in forgiveness unseen, in choosing prayer over resentment, in walking together toward the poor, the hurting, the outcast. And the world will not understand how such peace can exist among imperfect people. They will not be able to explain what keeps two souls united when every worldly reason has failed. That is when they will see me through your love. You do not need to preach. You only need to live, and that life, when built upon divine unity, will speak for itself. It will soften hearts hardened by wounds. It will reignite faith in those who gave up. It will remind children growing up in chaos that true love is real, not love based on passion, not love measured by success, but love that bends low, that serves, that stands in the storm and says, "We will not walk away because the one who joined us is faithful." Oh, then I will begin to open doors, not doors of convenience, but sacred doors. You will be called to pray for others. The one beside you will be called to share the journey, perhaps publicly, perhaps quietly, but this is sure, you will no longer live only for yourselves. Your love now bears witness, a sign, a living message that says, when God is the center, nothing is impossible. Oh, and remember this, my child, the deeper you go into the mission, the more you will need each other. No one is strong enough alone. No one is called to carry all the weight. There will be moments when you are exhausted from lifting others, moments when they feel unworthy to go on. But in those moments, your love becomes shelter, a look, a whispered prayer, a silent hand held tight, enough to lift each other again, to remind one another of the purpose, to soothe the invisible wounds no one else sees. When you pray, I hear. When the two of you pray together, I move. When you walk in unity, I open doors that once seemed impossible. The love between you now is not just meant to survive trials, but to build something new upon ground that was once ruined, to restore abandoned places, to plant seeds of life where hope had withered away, because true covenant always carries true mission. If you once believed that love was a reward for faithfulness, then now understand this. Love is also the tool through which calling is completed. And you, with that person by your side, will become a torch, not only lighting the path for yourselves, but shining into the darkened corners of others' lives. That is when I rejoice. That is when heaven shouts in celebration, because the covenant has borne fruit, and my kingdom is expanded through you. I want you to grasp this deeply. Covenant cannot stand on its own in a world that constantly shakes. What I join together cannot be sustained by emotion alone, because emotions shift like the wind. Only what is built on holiness, alertness, and steadfast faithfulness will endure every season. And I say to you today, it is time to protect what I have given not with your hands, but with a heart that remains wholly anchored in me. Do not think that because you have weathered the first storm, there will be no more battles ahead. In fact, it is when the two of you begin to step into greater influence that the attacks will become more subtle and cunning. The enemy is not foolish enough to strike directly at what I have sealed. He comes through small distractions, vague whispers, hidden desires, counterfeit busyness, and unspoken comparisons. And when you no longer guard yourselves in holiness, when prayer becomes a performance, when obedience becomes selective, that is when cracks begin to form in the spirit and the distance begins to grow. I do not say this to frighten you. I say it so you will remain vigilant like watchmen in the night, eyes fixed on the sacred wall of your union. Because the love between you is not a cheap privilege, is a treasured inheritance, born from the intercession of generations. Perhaps your parents prayed in silence. Perhaps a grandmother wept for anointing to pass through the bloodline. And now, you are the inheritor. Do not let what is priceless be lost to small negligence. Do not trade the eternal for a fleeting sensation. Holiness in love is not just about guarding your bodies. It is guarding your words, your gaze, your intentions. It is pausing before you speak. It is choosing silence over wounding. It is sitting down to pray rather than letting anger pull you apart. It is reminding each other, we do not belong to this world. We belong to a kingdom that cannot be shaken. When you remain in me, you remain in each other. When I am the flame between you, no darkness can invade. And I want you to remember this, the other person will not always be right. There will be times when they are weak. There will be moments they say something that wounds you. But love is not choosing someone who is perfect. Love is choosing to see them through the light. I shine choosing to see what I am doing in them. Even when you don't yet see the results. They are not your salvation, I am. But I have placed them in your life as part of your sanctification. They are the mirror through which you'll see your need for me. They are your companion to learn humility, forgiveness, and faithfulness, not just toward them, but toward me. My child, true covenant is not two perfect people loving each other flawlessly. It is two imperfect souls choosing to place themselves in my hands each day, allowing me to shape, renew, heal, and use them. And in that process, love becomes real, not a love that flares up and fades, but a steady flame that never goes out. Because it is fueled by surrender, forgiveness, commitment, and prayer. If only you could see what I see, the gates opening, generations awakening, souls waiting just to be touched by the love you carry. You would never underestimate what I have joined. This love is not just for you. It is a bridge to a new flow of grace. The beginning of a downpour of blessing that I long to release on a land hardened by deception and disappointment. Keep your heart pure. Keep your mind from being shaken by fleeting trends. Stay far from the noise that drowns out my voice. And if there comes a moment when you feel lost, return. Return to the beginning, to the place where the two of you first held hands and prayed, to where you said yes through tears, to where I said, "This is the one I have chosen." For covenant does not disappear, it only grows dim when covered by the dust of this world. But if you wipe it away, if you close your eyes, if you call on my name, the light will break through again, and that love you thought had gone quiet will burn anew. I do not need loud love. I need lasting love. Not love driven by waves of emotion, but by the quiet strength of faithfulness. I do not need grand declarations. I need steady steps, even through dust and valley. And when you do this, when you keep covenant with me, not through perfection, but through surrender, I myself will keep you. My child, when love is built on the foundation of holiness and kept through faithfulness, it will enter a season I call the season of fruitfulness. Not fruit in the material sense first, but fruit in the spirit, where things sown in tears begin to sprout, rise, and bloom in a way no one can stop. Every act of obedience, every prayer, every moment of forgiveness, all of it has been recorded in heaven. And now I say to you, it is time to reap what you never even knew you were sowing. Your love, once small and quiet, has now become the gateway through which I will enter territories yet untouched. When you love without calculation, you create an atmosphere in which I can dwell. When you choose humility over victory, heaven is opened on earth. The world will not understand what is happening. They will ask why this love carries such power. They will see two ordinary people, yet be unable to deny the extraordinary that flows from their union. For they cannot see what I have done in secret. They only witness the fruit of obedience. My child, this season will be different. It is not like the previous ones where you fought to stay standing. Now, you will find yourself lifted not by your own strength, but by my mighty hand, not for pride, but for service, not so you can stand tall before others, but so you can bow low before heaven and say, Lord, to you belongs all the glory. In this season, doors that seemed sealed shut will open on their own. Previous rejections will be replaced by accept and say no because you forced anything, but because you've stepped into my appointed time. And it won't stop at open doors. You will begin to see the fruit of the Spirit ripen within. You'll look back and realize the other person is no longer who they were at the beginning. They've become deeper, more fervent in prayer, more steadfast in the storm. And you too are no longer the same. Things that once terrified you now stand before you, and you do not tremble. Wounds that once made you flinch are now scars that bear witness grace has triumphed over pain. My beloved child, true love always bears fruit, and that fruit is not merely joy, peace, or sweet moments, but a deep impact in the spirit realm. Every time you join hands and pray together, a chain in someone else's life is broken. Every time you speak the truth in love, an arrow of light pierces through the darkness. Every time you walk in humility, angelic hosts are released to reclaim territory and rescue bound souls. And you will come to understand, this love was never just about the two of you. It is the path I use to fulfill a greater plan. You will begin to see children born not merely by blood, but by calling, perhaps adopted, perhaps young people drawn to you because they sense a safety the world cannot offer. You'll see them kneeling to pray in your home. You'll witness dreams the other once deemed impossible suddenly open into new gates. Because when two walk in mission, everything else falls into place. This is also the season I will teach you a new principle, stewardship of grace. As blessings increase, you must grow deeper in awareness, not because I will take it away, but because I desire what I give to be preserved in glory, not tainted by neglect. The smallest things show you speak to each other in private, how you allocate time, how you guard your hearts. These are how the flow of grace is kept clean. I do not give fruit, so you may boast, but so you may become spiritual storehouses for a generation. Give what you've received. Share the lessons of your journey. Intercede for couples who are faltering. Lift the hands of the lost. Because true love does not remain closed. It always seeks to expand. It always reveals that heaven is real. In this season of fruitfulness, you will learn the most profound truth I wish to teach. When love is from me, I myself will sustain it. You do not need to control it. You do not need to worry about tomorrow or whether they will change. You need only to come before me daily and say, Lord, I entrust this covenant to you, and I, the faithful one, will take care of the rest. My child, when your love begins to bear fruit, I will not let it remain in the realm of receiving. Every true result comes with spiritual responsibility. This is when love must extend beyond two people to become a bridge that upholds others. An altar of surrender and offering, a place where I can lay my hand and act through you for many more. In this season, I will begin to place strange burdens upon your hearts, not to weigh you down, but because you are now deep enough to carry them. One night, your partner may wake up weeping without knowing why. One day, you may sit silently amid the chaos, and tears will stream for a distant land you've never stepped foot on. Do not be confused. Do not seek rational explanations, for I am sharing with you my pain. Your love has grown strong enough to hold a greater mission. Remember, this love is no longer just for your happiness. It is now a shield for the orphan, a shelter from the storm for the outcast, a pure stream for those who thirst for the sacred but have lost faith. And I will begin to send you to places you once avoided, messy situations, overlooked people, cursed lands, not for you to prove anything, but for the light of your love to invade where darkness still reigns. You will see the addict sit silently in your presence. You will see the one who once mocked love now weeping during prayer. You will see broken marriages pause on the brink of divorce just to hear your story. And none of them need a sermon. They need a living witness. They need to see that true love can still exist. They need to feel an atmosphere from heaven where humility does not shame, where truth is spoken without condemnation, where failure is met with restoration. But my child, do not think this season will be easy. The greater the call, the clearer the weight. There will be moments when you feel empty, no strength to give, no words left to pray, no tears left to cry for others. Do not fear these moments, for in them you will learn the most precious lesson. True love is not born from effort, but from the flow of grace. When you are weak, I will be your source. When you are tired, I will lift you. When you have no words, the Holy Spirit will intercede with groans too deep for words. Romans 8:26. You will also see that sometimes the greatest trials do not come from strangers, but from those you most want to help. They will misunderstand. They will reject. They will twist the meaning of your actions. But I say, stand firm. For what you are protecting does not belong to this world, and it does not require human approval. Your covenant is part of a plan only heaven can fully comprehend. And if you remain steadfast, what is rejected today will become the foundation of someone else's healing tomorrow. This is also the season I will teach you to discern my voice from the voice of man. As influence increases, so will opinions. Some will praise you excessively. Others will criticize relentlessly. But you must not let your heart rise and fall by human words. I must be your only compass. Return often to the secret place. Hold hands in silence and let the Holy Spirit lead. Shut every door of public opinion, so only my voice remains echoing in the deepest place. And when you keep that sacred, I will open new doors not just for influence, but for inheritance. You will not merely help others survive, you will raise them to walk in their destiny. Your love will not be just a story to tell, but the breath of a generation. the beginning of restored families, of healed legacies, of dreams reborn from ashes. My child, do not fear the weight increasing, for when I assign you something to carry, I will also give you sufficient grace to carry it through. No one can measure the true weight of your love, for it does not lie in words, but in the sighs of midnight, in the hands lifted for strangers, in the intercession for a sleeping city, in the tears shed for a generation not yet born. When love has passed through testing, borne a fruit, and embraced spiritual responsibility, it now enters its most sacred phase, the phase of complete union in both glory and suffering. This is where love stops seeking comfort and becomes an instrumental mirror, reflecting my very heart in a world that has lost its way. I tell you this, not so you retreat, but so you understand. Every true love will one day encounter the cross, not because it is wrong, but because it has been chosen not to destroy it, but to sanctify it. Love between two people does not only carry the beauty of Eden, it also bears the sacred wounds of Golgotha, for it is in the place where love chooses to be wounded so that another might live that is where my glory is revealed. You may not be acknowledged. Your beloved may be misunderstood. You both may have to walk quietly for a long time, carrying in your hearts an obedience no one sees. But, my child, heaven is recording it. I see each time you step back so the other can move forward. I see every word you hold back for the sake of peace. I hear the sighs at night that you don't want anyone to worry about. These are the acts that bring water to another soul, even as you yourself thirst. That is why I say, suffering for the sake of love is never meaningless. When you choose to love even while hurting, you are teaching hell that grace can overcome pride. When you step into the prayer room, lifting your hands for someone who cannot pray for themselves, you are saying to me, though I am weak, I am still a place you can dwell. And it is in that moment that I pour out my oil, not oil to soothe, but oil to establish you as torches in the night. Love is not called to live easily. It is called to live meaningfully, in silence, in the choice to keep walking without applause, in sitting beside one another when every door is shut. Your love becomes the evidence that I am still moving upon the earth. No one may see the years of endurance, but I see. No one may count the tears you've shed for others, but I count them all. And the time will come when I lift you up before those who once denied you, not for revenge, but so they may know there is a kind of love not born of man, not limited by time, not bound by circumstances, but heavenly, eternal, and unshakable. This love is a living testimony that grace can dwell among humanity, that hope still grows on broken ground, that healing is still real. Even so, do not let glory make you forget the cross. For anyone who carries glory but forgets suffering is in danger of losing the purity of their soul. Always remind your heart, you are alive to serve. Wash the feet of the weary. Bend low with the broken. Embrace the spiritually orphaned. Open your home to those who no longer believe in love. For when you live like this, glory will not merely cover you, it will spread, seeping into the darkest corners. Your love will become a living prophecy. No microphone is needed, no stage required, just a faithful life, a look full of mercy, a presence that makes others feel seen, feel loved, and feel invited home. And this is what I have destined from before the foundation of the world. Not only that you live together, but that your lives contribute to the unfolding of redemption, not through words, but through surrendered living. So do not envy love that seems easier. Do not compare your journey to others, for the love you carry has been chosen to bear a part of my divine symphony. It does not need to look like anyone else's. It does not need to fit the world's mold of perfection. It only needs to be faithful in every season, honest in every failure, and courageous enough to begin again each day. And my child, when you are old, when your hair has turned silver, when your steps slow down, you will look back without regret. For you will know that you did not live to satisfy yourself, but to love as I love, and that is the greatest reward. For not everyone is chosen to love like this. Not everyone is called to walk with another to the very end, each step marked by grace. There will come a time when the love between two people I have chosen will no longer belong only to them. It will become a sign, a living prophecy, a part of heaven's holy melody echoing into generations yet to come. That is when love ceases to be just emotion or a personal journey, but becomes a sacred legacy, written not in ink, but in a life poured out. There are children yet unborn who will need the love you are building today. There are families yet to be formed waiting for a model that proves real love still exists. Steadfast faithfulness still endures covenants, don't always break. And that is why I keep shaping you, refining each action, whispering each reminder, not because I am harsh, but because you carry a legacy that transcends time. You will begin to see this. Young people will come to you, not because you speak eloquently, but because you carry something true and unshaken. They will sit beside you for hours, just watching how you speak to one another. They will ask questions that seem simple. Why does he still hold her hand every morning? Or, why do they always pray together like that? They don't need a sermon, they need a lifestyle that testifies. In a world where everything falls apart so easily, your steadfastness becomes an immovable pillar. This is when you'll realize the surrender you once thought was sacrifice was actually eternal investment. Every act of forgiveness, every choice to endure, every night of intercession together, none of it disappears into the air. It becomes seed life planted in the dry soil of others' hearts. Some will see and believe in marriage again. Some will step into their calling because of what you preserved. And someone, one day, will say, if I hadn't seen them live like that, I would have stopped believing in God. True legacy is not measured by how many praise you, but by how many souls are awakened because you lived rightly. And the most beautiful part is this: love doesn't need to prove any of it. It only needs to be faithful, to be real, to be deep, to continue. Every day, even without applause, even without recognition, because the true reward is not in temporary glory, but in hearing one simple sentence, heaven reserved just for you. Well done. My beloved, you have lived as I desired. And one day, you will find yourself surrounded by a circle of young people. Perhaps they'll come from different places, carrying pain, doubts, or deep cracks in their hearts. But as they step into the space where your love dwells, something within them will soften. They will cry without knowing why. They will sit in silence without feeling awkward, because they've entered the atmosphere of Covenanta sanctuary, not built with bricks, but formed by the presence of God between two who chose to love in holiness. Know this: legacy is not in the wealth you leave behind, but in the essence you leave behind. I do not need eloquent words from you. I need a pattern others can follow. A kind of love that does not highlight perfection, but surrender. Not always joyful, but always faithful. Not always victorious, but always standing in the light. That is the love this generation yearns for, even if they cannot say it out loud. My child, I will not let your love fade quietly into oblivion. I will engrave it into heaven's history. It will be mentioned in prayer gatherings of people you've never met. It will become melody in the songs of worshipers who do not know your names. It will be retold in the testimonies of preachers, struggling couples, mothers praying for prodigal sons. And they will say, if they could live like that, then so can we. The love between you will become an ark of covenant not made of gold, but of faithfulness. Each day lived is a vow, each season passed, a chapter written, each quiet victory, a mark recorded by angels. Nothing is wasted. No effort is in vain, for everything has been covered by mine eternal purpose. My child, do you know that true love never dies? It does not fade like memories. It does not wither like a flower. It does not vanish like breath dissolving into the air. True love is born in eternity, and therefore it lives beyond the bounds of time. It is not buried in graves. It does not end with old age. It is not dimmed by wrinkles, illness, or separation, because the love I placed within you does not come from the earth, but from heaven. You will reach a moment in life when you look back and realize love is not only about the sweet days, but about the quiet moments when you still held each other's hands, even when there were no words left to say. When you prayed together, though your eyes grew dim with age. When you saw your beloved slow down, grow weaker yet, your heart grew stronger than ever, because you knew everything you built together is not lost. It is being transformed into eternity. And my child, there is one truth I want you to engrave on your heart. Death does not have the final word. If one day you must say goodbye, if you find yourself standing at a grave, feeling as if everything has crumbled, know that this is not the end. It is the continuation, for true love, once written in my book, cannot be erased. It is not confined by earthly time. It continues to live in the spiritual realm. It is still being sung among the council of heaven. And one day, when time is no more, you will see each other again. No more tears. No more separation. In the distance between today and that day, your love will continue to echo. Its echoes will resound through the lives you've touched. It will live in the counsel you gave to someone on the edge of divorce. It will breathe in the smile you offered a lonely child. It will multiply in every blessing spoken, every small prayer meeting held, every meal you cooked out of love, not obligation. Your love, even when you no longer see itis, still being used by heaven as the soundtrack to stories not yet lived. And I tell you this so that you will not fear, so you will know. Every tear you shed doesn't just wet your pillow, it waters the seeds that will bloom in the next generation. People you may never meet on earth will live because of the grace that flowed from the love you surrendered. They may never know your name, but they will feel the atmosphere you left behind. And they will say, I don't know who lived like this, but because they did, I still believe there's hope. This kind of love surpasses seasons. It doesn't thrive only in favorable times. It does not require the world's approval. It only needs one thing, that God sees it. And because He sees, He gives grace. He protects. He sustains. He continues to pour oil into the lamp of love, no matter how fierce the storm. That love doesn't have to be perfect, but it must be faithful. It doesn't need to be loud, but it must endure. It doesn't need to be grand, but it must be real. And then, one day, you will find yourself sitting at the final bend of the road, no longer able to do great things. A child will sit beside you. They will look at you and say, "Grandpa, Grandma, I've never seen anyone love like you two." And in that moment, you will understand. This is the reward. Not wealth, not success, but a life lived rightly, a love that flowed in the right direction, a soul that loved in the way I, the Lord your God, always desired. So, if you are still young, know. If you still have strength, then keep loving. Love in a way that makes time stop to admire it. Love in a way that the angels long to imitate. Love in a way that hell itself cannot resist, because it is a love drenched in the sacrificial blood of Christ. Love without fear of being hurt. Love without waiting for perfect conditions. Love as if it were the last day, and as if that love would live forever. My child, now, I want you to pause. Take a moment to look back on the entire journey, not with the eyes of reason, but with a spiritual gaze. From the very first moment your heart stirred without knowing why, to the seasons of confusion and testing, to the moments when you thought you had lost everything. And now, you will begin to see, love is not something you possess. It is something you are called to offer. Love is not meant to be held for yourselves alone, but to become a part of heaven's strategy. Love was not given just to comfort two souls, but to awaken an entire generation, one paralyzed by doubt, hurt, and disappointment. You once thought love was the end of a prayer, but now you know it is the beginning of a holy covenant, far greater than you imagined. Therefore, I say to you, if this love has been sanctified by me, then now I am calling you to lay it on the altar, not to lose it, but so it may become an offering, a fragrant incense pleasing to me, a powerful instrument, a river of life flowing from faithfulness. From this day forward, your love is no longer just a story between two people. It is a symphony through which I will call my lost children home. You will witness this. Those who never believed in love will soften at the sound of your story. Hearts long closed will open just by seeing how you forgive each other. Some, who once declared they would never marry, will whisper through their tears, "Lord, if that love is real, grant me even one chance to step into it." Oh, Blaine, I will always remind you, I did not choose you because you were perfect. I chose you because you were willing to surrender. I do not demand strength every day, only that you return to me when you are weak. Your love does not need to be loud, radiant, or proven. It only needs to be mine. And if you surrender it even after all the wounds, failure, and losses, I will change its very nature. I will make it a sacred sign, a pillar of fire in the wilderness, a lamp in the night. My beloved child, love like this does not end when life on earth ends. It continues in the spiritual realm. I will use this very love to be passed down not by bloodline, but by purpose. A generation will rise, not because of sermons, but because they witnessed a model lived rightly. They will not need credentials. They will only need to see that two people loved not easily, but courageously, not because everything was in place, but because grace was enough. One day, when your earthly race is finished, when your work is complete, I will call you both into a sacred chamber where time no longer exists. There, you will see faces you've never known. They will walk toward you and say, "We were saved because your love was lived rightly." And in that moment, you will understand. A holy love carries an eternal impact. My child, I am calling you. Step into the season of sealing. Give me this entire journey. Write the name of this love into the palm of my hand, so I may engrave it upon an eternal tablet. Hold nothing back. Do not wonder if this love was beautiful enough. If it belongs to me, I will use it to weave a new spiritual lineage for an entire generation. And if you agree, I will do this. I will grant the final blessing not to begin a new journey, but to seal what has been lived rightly, guarded faithfully, loved sacrificially, and surrendered completely. I will seal this love with the mark of eternal life, irrevocable, incorruptible, unmistakable. It will live beyond every generation, through every battle, across every shifting age. So come near to me once more. Place this love upon the altar of every memory, every promise, every dream, every failure, every tear. Place it all in my hands. And when you do, the heavens will open. Angels will record it. All of heaven will know this is a love that lived for the King. And I will say, "Well done, my beloved. You have loved rightly, and your love will live forever." Thank you for receiving today's message. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we can continue to receive the living word together. Build an unshakable faith and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.